You're listening to the SClubBeat with Dale and Katey.
Hi, and welcome back to the SClubBeat. I'm Dale.
And I'm Katey.
And today we are here to talk about Miami 7 or SClub 7 in Miami, depending on your region. So we have 3 episodes. These are going to be aired week by week for the next 3 weeks, and then we'll bounce into season 2. And we have someone very special, Katey. Who do we have, Katey?
We have JESS.
We have JESS. We love JESS. It's from our Discord.
She's from Florida, but she's in California now.
Yeah, she lives in California. So I'm not going to get too deep into her career. We'll let her do that if she so wishes. But she's amazing. We love her. We met her in Chicago.
I'm jealous of her career.
I love her career. And I think, and I'm going to ask her, I think she's from the original world of Rachel.
Hello, friend.
Hi, Jess.
Guys, how's it going?
It's going so good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm super pumped to be included in this.
We're super pumped to have you, aren't we, Katey?
Yes, we are.
We are here, of course, to talk about the first 4 episodes of Miami 7. But before we get into the episodes, I did want to get some facts in. So it was filmed for 3 months at the start of 1999. And a lot of these facts are from the Miami 7 scrapbook. I don't know if y'all have it, but I have it readily available for me right here. I am prepared.
I have mine.
I'm like, Katey, is it in front of you?
She's prepared.
Yay.
She's got it.
Right here.
I also have the Canadian version, which is yellow. But according to the Miami 7 scrapbook, the alternate titles for the show were 7 in Miami and 7 Up. I think Pepsi would not have loved the 7 Up title and probably would have sued.
But they did end up representing Pepsi later, so maybe not.
So maybe not. But the band had over 120 outfits for the series, and that equates to about 17 outfits per person. So the first episode aired on April 8th, 1999, which is the day before Rachel Stevens' birthday. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Cool.
April 8th. The first 2 episodes, so Howard's Hotel and whatever the first episode, Takeoff, were aired back-to-back in the United States on November 6th of 1999. It was viewed by 90 million people in 120 different countries, which is a big accomplishment for this little unknown band from England. The final episode aired on July 1st of 1999, and the final episode aired on February 5th, 2000 in the United States. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, you already start talking about the episodes. Do you have anything else y'all want to add? The reason we asked Jess to come on to the podcast, y'all, is because she has physically been to the Florida Paradise Hotel, which is actually named Villas by the Sea. So, Jess, tell us your experience at Villas by the Sea.
So when I watched Miami 7, I found out it was filmed in Fort Lauderdale, which is about 45 minutes away from Miami. It's up north. And I begged my parents to take me. And then I remember clear as day, the day that they took me, it's now I'm about to age myself, but digital cameras were not a thing. They were about to become a thing. So I remember my mom being like, do you want me to take the real camera? And I was like, no, we'll just take the new digital camera. It'll be fine. And then lo and behold, I'll come back to my experience at the hotel. But when we looked at the photos, it was super grainy because it was the first digital camera. So it was pixelated. So I don't have any photos, unfortunately. But I remember it clear as day. I remember walking the corridor. There's an episode in the show where they're painting a wall, part of their shores or whatnot. And it's that corridor. And I remember just turning around and seeing the stage setup was still there and stuff. And the pool and that wooden stage. But yeah, I mean, it was exactly true to the show. It was a bit run down. It was a ghost town. There was no one there. And yeah, I mean, I wish I had photos and stuff, but I do have the brochure that I kept all these years. I don't have it here. It's in Miami with my parents, with all my S Club artifacts and stuff. But it was fun.
Artifacts?
They are. They're 25 years old. They're artifacts.
Memorabilia.
we prefer the term memorabilia. It's less
That's
ancient.
true. Now I'm aging everything, aren't I? But it was a lot of fun and like super cool to like remember and like say that like like I got to see with my own eyeballs. So it was fun. I remember I wanted to go back again like a year or so or 2 years later, and by that point it was already like torn down. It's like
tragic.
It's like I go to that area kind of like often whenever I'm in Fort Lauderdale, and it's like high rises now. It's like condos and stuff. But yeah, it's still like a nice area. You could still like go to the actual beach and be like, yes, Miami 7 was here. But yeah, the actual ground all gone.
I guess we're gonna go into the episodes. Y'all, are y'all ready? Do you have any thoughts before we go into the episodes? No thoughts before the episodes?
I'm ready to see all the inconsistencies that you want to point out.
Okay, there are going to be so many inconsistencies, Jess. You're gonna crap yourself with how many inconsistencies there are. So the first episode, of course, is called Takeoff. So it opens with S Club performing "Everybody Wants Ya" with Joe and Rachel, and they are in what is a church hall. And S Club complain that they have not gotten a gig in months and that they're being kicked out of the church hall. So John has to get a proper job as a salesman for the Clean and Easy Carpet Company. Does anybody remember the catchphrase?
Want oops.
Want
brought me back.
That is correct. Want oops. S Club go and visit their manager, and they do like a Reservoir Dogs thing where they're all walking, and it's like very sensual and sexy. Have y'all seen Reservoir Dogs?
No.
I haven't either. I have no idea what it's about, but apparently they're walking down the street and it's like big and bulky and bad and intimidating, I guess. Then S Club go and meet their manager, and they like have discussions with him, and it's like war, and there's images of war, and like there's just smoke coming out of everywhere. Does everyone see what's going on like in their heads? S Club are just screaming and like arguing. So after S Club have their meeting with their manager, it switches to Marvin and Howard discussing how the hotel is losing money. So kind of back to what Jess just saying is the hotel's kind of not the best hotel that could probably be sought out in Miami. So I wonder how much they paid the Villas by the Sea to film there. So something else that we haven't gotten to the hotel portion of this yet, but the S Club film all of their bedroom scenes in London. So none of these were actually shot in Florida. So I don't know if that has been, I don't think I have that written down, but none of the bedroom scenes, like the rundown bathrooms and all that, were filmed in Florida. So John officially gets a real job at the Easy Clean Carpet Company, marking the first exit from the band when John leaves. This is not the last time that someone leaves the band, Katey and Jess.
Mm-hmm.
John is the first member to leave. Rachel is next, and then Paul.
You're right.
And
Rachel was so heartbroken when John left. Like I just remember Paul had to like pull her off because she was just so sad.
Tragic. So after receiving the beatdown from S Club's management, S Club's manager calls Howard and describes S Club as the new Beatles. They're the new Beatles, and to S Club he sells the Florida Paradise Hotel as paradise, and they envision these gigantic beaches and these pretty skyline hotels and beautiful images. Bigger than
Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas.
Bigger than Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. It's crazy.
I remember that line, like watching it, and I was just like, "What is Caesar's Palace?" Like I was just so little, I was like, "What is Caesar's Palace?" And it wasn't until like, as I was an adult rewatching, I was like, "Oh."
Something else that I find interesting, like in this first season specifically, is they often refer to them as the S Club. So I don't know if y'all have ever.
That is my biggest pet peeve. Like in
like
life,
the S Club 7.
In life, that is my biggest pet peeve. The inconsistencies of like the S Club 7 and then S Club and then S Club 7. Like it's just like pick one. Like who was writing these episodes? Like don't they have like a fact checked sheet of like this person is how we refer to them? Oh my god!
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Well,
I
this
guess
only
it's a kid
happens
show,
in,
so they guess like no
they're
one's
not going
gonna
to
pay
have
attention.
they're not going to expect that 30-year-olds are going to have a podcast on it in 20 years. They're not
Yeah.
anticipating that. So after all this, S Club go on a merry-go-round, and they go around and they talk about it and all that stuff, and they envision what life would be like in Miami. This is the first time we get to see Clint. So Clint is the alligator that we will meet. There's a whole episode dedicated to him. But he's much more vicious in this scene because Hannah keeps having like flashbacks to being scared by the alligator.
Yeah. She's like off
and
in her own world as usual. Like that's the first
Like-
glimpse we get of her, that she's going to be a kook the whole time.
Lackadaisical, I
Yeah.
think is the word. And Bradley's off skating with hot girls, and Rachel is missing her boyfriend, and that's just also a recurring thing that we have throughout Miami
Shocker.
and LA and all of the specials in between.
The special.
There's whole specials dedicated to it. We get a whole episode.
Yeah.
And then I just have a note here that says whack whack oops, because it's just said so much in this episode. It's ridiculous. I think it's said no less than 20 times.
Whack, whack, oops.
Anyway, so S Club are now at this fictional airport in London/Essex. And Bradley just forgets to tell his parents that he's leaving for Florida. Have you ever left the country and
Do
not
you
told your parents, Katey?
Do you hear, though, when he's on the phone, the PA system?
Yeah, it says Bradley McIntosh
Okay.
in the background.
And
Yeah.
John Smith.
Bradley McIntosh and John Smith travelling with me now.
Like,
I'm
I'm not sure if that was supposed to... Yeah, when he's on the phone, you can hear with Bradley McIntosh and John Smith call
Oh,
blah,
wow.
blah, blah.
John couldn't handle 30 whack whack oopses a day at work, and he quits his job to join S Club
An
in
hour.
Miami's. An hour. Is it an hour?
Yeah.
30 whack whack oops is an
That's the right
hour.
thing, though.
So he quits his job and joins S Club in Miami. And this is where they also give us the iconic scene of It's a Feel Good Thing in a plane. And I don't know if either of y'all have been in a plane, but you cannot dance up and down the aisle like that.
That
was
is
a good
also
plane.
not an international flight plane.
No.
Like, that is
that's
too
like-
small of a plane to be flown from London to Miami.
Yeah.
That is not a
Like,
747.
Cities, yeah.
So many inconsistencies. And
It
we're
was
only in the
not.
first episode.
And the
It was
luggage
probably-
things are not long enough for a human to lay in. There's dividers.
Yeah. Well, Hannah is kind of small.
Yeah.
So.
Not that small.
Not that small. But, all right, so S Club arrive at the Florida Paradise Hotel where they meet Howard and Marvin. And Joe says the iconic line, "If this is paradise, I'm scared to know what hell looks like."
If this is paradise, I'd hate to think what hell looks like.
What did you expect?
And I do not remember them cursing as much as they did in the American airing of this. I don't remember them cursing at all. They say hell in at least once per episode. It's like they had a...
Oh.
This is a kid's show.
I don't think I've noticed. I mean, I knew the line from Joe, but I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever put that they say it a lot.
They say it a lot. Like, I want to go back and rewatch it again and just count how many times they say it. But it's a lot. So, do y'all have any other notes or anything else that y'all want to go through on this first episode of S Club 7 in Miami/Miami 7, depending on your territory? Any last thoughts on episode 1?
No, I think you did a really good breakdown of like what happened. It was just like, it was kind of like setting the scene for what's to come. I think
Yeah,
the next
so
couple
I
episodes
don't-
like really when it gets like good.
We are going to now delve into episode 2. And Katey, do you mind taking this episode from me? Because I am parched.
We are tired of listening to you talk.
Very fair.
Okay.
Very fair.
Yeah. Episode 2 is Howard's Hotel. So it pretty much picks off where Takeoff ends. And they're heading into their hotel rooms, really tired, and Bradley's sleepwalking. And then they go to sleep, and then Howard and Marvin wake them up with Marvin's horrible trumpet.
trumpet.
And
Can y'all
Paul
play the
falls
trumpet
out of
like
the bed.
that? Paul falls a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clumsy.
He was not accurately playing that trumpet either. They go line up at the pool, and they tell the band, Howard tells the band that if they want to perform, that they got to work. So they have all sorts of excuses about why they can't work. And then that's when Joe and Paul, they both paint the walls and they grab the different colors.
So I think it's blue and green, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. And they were singing at S Club Party, but they were actually singing the opposite verses. Like, Joe was singing the boys' part.
Let's go.
There ain't no party like an S-Club party.
Gonna show you.
Oh. Everybody get down tonight.
And then
Yeah.
Rachel's flipping out over the creepy crawlies in the pool, because that's totally on brand with Rachel. So it's the first reference of Howard not knowing their names and just calling them whatever they want. So it's Rachel's long-haired kid. S Club discussed Howard treating them really unfairly. And then we got Rachel and Hannah talking about how she's homesick. Rachel's crying again.
So much.
I
She's
kind of
so
like
emotional.
that they like. I kind of like how like throughout the series you see like how homesick they are, and it's not just like all fun and games. Like how you like it's kind of like realistic in that sense that like yes they are like in a completely different country, so it kind of like adds like some like realism to it of like it's not just like rainbows and sunshine. Like they have their moments throughout the years, various points where they like want to leave the band or like they're missing people back home. I quite like that.
Yeah. Howard and Marvin make them perform Tie Yellow Ribbon because they think that's what the old people that live at the hotel will like. And what does Rachel keep doing?
She couldn't tie the yellow ribbon.
The ribbon came untied.
It'll be 3 long years. Will you still... What are you doing?
My ribbon came untied.
Should have used a reef knot like I did, Rachel.
What were you going to say, Jess?
No, it like if you think like that song is a very like retirement friendly song, which makes sense why they've never officially released that song, like the official recording.
So I have theories on this, Jess. So as we discussed in literally all of our previous episodes, S Club existed as a 5-piece before we know it. So Joe and Bradley were the last two to join the band, and before that they performed a series. They recorded a series of covers. I think these covers include Dancing Queen, Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Oak Tree, Someday Someway, I Want Candy. They just performed a bunch of covers by other bands, like to get their footing in the music industry. And I think over the years they slowly released them. So I think this was part of them because it doesn't feature Joe or Bradley. And I'm convinced that Dancing Queen was originally recorded with just Rachel, and then they like did some vocal things to add Joe in later. But I think that was an early recording too. So I think Tie a Yellow Ribbon is classic S Club, and I could be wrong, but
I could get on board with that theory. That's a good theory.
Yeah.
And I mean, because we do know that S Club existed as a 5-piece. Rachel even says it in her brand new book, Finding My Voice, which is available now for purchase. But
Love that plug. Love it.
She mentions it in her book, so I'm not completely far off base. And they would have had to record stuff because Rachel says in her book that, you know, they were getting along as a 5-piece, but it just didn't feel right. So they recorded stuff, and I'm convinced that Tie a Yellow Ribbon is part of that. And
yeah, it's nice to see Paul have like a spotlight early on, because later on, like, he doesn't really sing too much. He's more on the acting side of it.
Yeah.
So it's nice that he had the vocal right off the bat.
And I love that. And that's such a posh little performance. I think they look so cute in their little blue like suits and little bow ties and tiny yellow ribbon. But yeah.
I just love that choreography because of how cheeky it is. Like,
it's very cute.
And then they come out and Rachel takes charge and she's like, nope, I'm taking the pigtails out. I'm taking the shirt off.
Yeah,
And-
this is
yeah.
completely off-brand for Rachel Lauren Stevens, y'all. Because in her
Yeah.
new book, Finding My Voice, she's not very, like, demanding. Like, she's not that person that she portrayed on the TV show. So it's kind of cute to see her, like, take her little ponytails out. And then, like, when they come out and they perform S-Club Party, flawlessly, mind you, you can't see the kinks in their hair from, like, the ponytails that they just took out. They look flawless. Like, Hannah has the cute, like, what?
They
So
get
the
dressed really
continuity's
fast.
off. The continuity's off
Yeah.
already. We're only in the second episode. So much incorrect continuity.
Right.
Sorry, I got ahead of you.
Well, I don't know about how you say about it was off-brand for Rachel to be bossy, because that is a character. Because Tina, you know, I didn't like her at first because I took her more of the character, and I'm like, she is mean.
She's a terrible
rude.
person. I hate
But-
Tina. And then I met her and I was like, Tina,
Yeah.
you're so lovely. Like, tell me more.
Yeah. But the character, I did not like Tina in Miami. Like, first thing we hear from her is her bossing people around that, you know, you missed a step and you were flat and yeah.
How's she?
Dance
I'm
captain.
not going to say that. The way that they did the Miami 7 characters are completely off-brand for who they actually are. So I think, like, Jo, they put her in as a mechanic, and she's like, I don't know what any of these words mean. Like, she's openly said she doesn't know anything about cars. Finish off this episode, Rachel demands that they do things their way, and the band go and perform S-Club Party flawlessly. And they get a positive reaction from the audience, Katey.
Yes.
These
As
old
And then
people,
Rachel says she's okay. As long as they stick together.
as long as they
So
stick
happy.
together. I mean, so we're at the end of episode 2. I was going to say season 2. We haven't even gotten past the halfway point. But yeah, do y'all have any final thoughts on Howard's Hotel?
No, still run down, still not great. Like,
No.
very
Still not
believable.
Very, very believable. Hey, Jess, did you want to take us through our 3rd episode, the Blue Chevy?
Yeah, let's do it. So this episode starts off with Rachel. Yeah. This episode starts off with Rachel taking forever in the shower while Hannah and Tina need to desperately use the bathroom. So, like, to get their mind off of it, Tina suggests that they like start like dancing, and like I think they start like bopping side to side. And then who like gets inside the bathroom first? I think it was Hannah, wasn't
Jo.
it?
No, it was Jo.
Oh yeah, Jo like sneaks in.
Because they're distracted by dancing. So she's just like, okay, I'll go.
So Jo
Or
just
no,
sneaks
Tina.
in.
I thought it was
No,
Tina runs in there because, because she's
Where's
like, Tina, I'll
Jo?
kill you.
You're right.
Okay.
She does say that
Yeah.
line.
And she's like, just keep dancing. And then
Maybe I
Joe
am
tries
wrong.
to get in too. And Hannah's
Oh.
like, don't even think about it. Do you not watch, Dale? Like,
Again, I was working.
Asking.
shame.
Okay, so they are correct. It was Hannah and Tina outside of the bathroom with Rachel, and then Tina gets Hannah's mind off of it by dancing, and then pushes past Hannah to get through it when Rachel leaves, and then Jo walks up, and then Hannah's like, don't even think about it. So
Yep.
Yeah,
They were
I
correct.
really
I was
like
wrong.
that scene because it kind of like sets the tone for like how like their banter with each other and like how they like interact with each other. Like they're always like joking around, but also like kind of not joking. Like I'll kill you. So
just like
like
brothers
you
and sisters.
kind of like see,
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of see like those like characteristics of like how close they are and like how they live together, they work together, and like sometimes they're just like I'm gonna kill you over doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the background, the boys realize that they haven't been paid, and they decide they want to purchase a car just to like get around and not necessarily be on the hotel grounds all the time.
It's so crazy. You're
Which
not getting
definitely,
paid, but you want to buy a car. Like, how does that equate?
Yeah,
Like,
like,
we haven't
have
gotten paid. Let's
priorities.
go buy a car. But yeah.
Yeah, that is true. But like, think about it. Like, if you're just like stuck in a hotel, like an old school hotel grounds, like you want to get out.
Yeah. I
Like, you
completely
wanna
get it.
But okay, they got out to go to the beach. Like, where are they going?
to different beaches.
They need it for the performances in their car, Katie.
Yeah.
The random
sure.
performances.
Like, I don't know where they think they were going with the car.
Oh man,
I don't know how they got the gas. We'll get to the money bit in a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's like a huge thing actually. If you think about it, like to fund everything. Like where are they getting this money?
Well,
Anyways,
it was 99. Gas was, $1.
20 cents.
That's
I
true.
love how we both have
Not
different
like today.
interpretations of how much gas cost in 2000.
I had no idea. So Bradley mentions the film Reservoir Dogs, a film which was previously nodded in episode 1. So there's a bit of consistency there.
Yeah. Do you remember we just had that whole conversation like 20 minutes ago about that scene that none of us have watched from Reservoir Dogs?
Yep.
Consistency. So they're giving us some consistency, random consistency, but consistency nonetheless.
Yeah, writers must have been a fan of the movie or something.
Yeah. And then let's see what happens next. They go to Howard's house and they see a sign like for an alligator's on the premise, and each of the members like make their way through the yard without seeing him. So I think like one of them like rolls on the grass.
Rachel falls. She trips over the bush.
Yeah.
So at this
And
point,
then
Rachel
scares away. And I think, yeah, and then Paul is the last one left because he's the one that's the most scared, isn't he? I'm pretty sure it was Paul.
They meet up with Howard and they demand that he pays them each $100, but he only gives them $80 as he charges them for a slew of things such as like room, board, electricity, laundry, taxes, commissions, everything else. So I guess what is the math? They come up with all the money and they come up to $381.60. But when you add 80 times 7, you actually get $560. So the math isn't mathing. Marvin wants to give S-Club a car, and he gives them the iconic red Chevy that's in the garage. So they ended up giving him the $381 that they had with the 60 cents. But then Hannah like randomly finds like an additional 10 cents, and she gives it. So they paid $381.70 for this car, which is a steal.
That is
a really good price.
Especially it's a classic.
Yeah. Yeah. Once they get the car, they end up cleaning it and they drive around Miami while performing to the song Down at Club S.
I want to interject here.
Which is fun.
Where Dale learned to spell club.
Yes. I learned how to spell club here. That's a joke from...
Because of the song?
Yeah. Because it's a joke in the 2 in a Million episode where I love songs where they tell me to spell stuff, like Bananas with Gwen Stefani and Glamorous by Fergie. SClub taught me how to spell club because I didn't know how to do that. I was like 10 and dyslexic. Don't make fun of me. But anyway, I want to interject here because according to the Miami 7 scrapbook, this song is called Club S. Not Down at Club S, it's just called Club S. And I'm thinking somewhere management decided that it was not a good idea because that would confuse people.
Okay,
could you imagine?
That's a good theory as well. Yeah, because it's backwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Could you imagine Googling SClub 7 Club S? Like, great. And then in Viva SClub, they did Club SClub. Ugh. So much. But anyway, I just wanted to interject right there. Sorry.
Right. No, that's vital information, actually, that needed to be said. Mm-hmm. Like, that's actually interesting and good. They're out, they're performing in the car, and then the car breaks down. So Bradley leaves to find help, and Joe starts, like, diagnosing the car because she's, like, known throughout the series as, like, the go-to person who knows what they're doing when it comes to the car. So Bradley emerges with a tow truck, and they agree to bring the band back into the hotel. And the guy driving like insists that he sits next to Rachel. And I mean, I get it. Like Rachel,
that was a bad sexist joke too. Like they are horrible to her.
Oh yeah, yeah. But Rachel is like so cute. Like you know,
Rachel, Rachel Lauren Stevens.
It didn't age well. Like if that were in a current show, that would not.
Oh no, that would not.
A lot of this stuff wouldn't. Yeah. A lot of this stuff wouldn't hold up.
Yeah.
Would
And
not.
then that's where we get the iconic kind of like line of between Rachel and Bradley, which is like Rachel saying like, I'm not a sex object. And then Bradley says, not to me or not, but some people don't have taste. Let's see. They return to the hotel and they're still performing down at Club S. But
They
this
like that
time,
song.
It's giving. It's just
Yeah.
giving.
keep going. But this time it's different arrangements. It's an alternative arrangement. So there's like a bit
So
of
they have
ad-libs.
different ad
and
libs
like,
in this part.
Mhm.
It's crazy. I want this version
I do too.
because there's a whole second bridge, whole different bridge. Crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's true. We'll find it one day. Maybe. Who
one
knows?
day.
Yeah.
And
Someone
then
put it online.
they get back to the hotel, and Joe wakes up, and she grabs Bradley, and they go fix Howard's car. No, they get stuff. They get parts from Howard's car to fix their
To
car.
fix theirs. So
Yeah.
I just want to interject here again because
I have something too. Maybe you have the same thing.
out of all the people she could have picked to wake up,
Oh.
why would it be Bradley? Because he's the one who's always sleeping. Like I would have picked John or Paul.
Right.
Like I wouldn't have
You're
picked
right.
Bradley as my person to go to help me break into Howard's place and steal parts from the car.
He'd be the last
Yeah,
person.
especially you wanted him to be a watch, like to watch out.
And he's
you
you're,
wake
like,
him up from his sleep.
and like he's known to fall asleep while walking. So the continuity, I'm telling you, it's just all over the
Who would
place.
you
Anyway,
guys
what were you going to say,
pick?
Katie?
Like who would
I would have picked John or Paul.
Huh. I would have picked Paul.
Yeah, Paul seems more reliable.
Okay.
Not that John isn't reliable,
Well,
but
wait. He was too. John was fine with Clint though because he's an animal lover. Paul was scared to death. So okay,
Yeah.
I changed my mind. I'm gonna John.
okay.
Good choice.
So-
And I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
they're working on the car; they're just keeping watch.
Right.
So yeah, I think John, definitely John. And plus, they're
Yeah.
so close, like together in real life, like to these days.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go with John.
Okay. So
What was your
I
thing?
wanted to point out when did you notice the door when Joe walked into the guy's room? It wasn't
Mm-mm.
even shut. Like the deadbolt is sticking out. Like the door wasn't even shut.
I didn't.
Oh,
I was paying
Yeah.
double attention to everything. So no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, Katie.
good eye.
Anybody could have broke into that room.
Yeah, so like while Joe's working and Bradley is, I don't know, like
Keeping an eye.
I guess sort of paying attention, they both encounter Clint, the alligator.
For the first time.
That was, yeah, so that's Clint. We see Clint again here. And then after fixing the car, Joe convinces the band that just, straight up positive thinking will get their car started again. So I love the idea of manifesting that just like
Mhm.
with their little minds, this car will just start. And
Vroom, vroom, vroom. Next
Oh,
time
yeah,
my
they
car
all
breaks
start
down, I'm
doing
just gonna
that.
sit in it. Next time my car breaks down, I'm just gonna sit in there and do that.
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And
I
then
love watching like each of their faces like during that scene. Like because everybody's doing like something different.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
And then the episode, like, starts to wind down where it's ending. So they fix the car and they're driving. And then Howard and Marvin, like, their car's now broken down because obviously they got their parts. And then S Club just kind of like pass by and like are just like, well, see ya. Which is cute. It's
They'll
like
be there when we get
there's-
back.
Yeah.
Can you not go so fast? The wind is clogging my pores.
So this is the end of the Blue Chevy episode, and I don't know why they called it the Blue Chevy and not the Red Chevy. I understand like Howard's Chevy is blue, but the S Club Chevy is red.
But they end up with the red Chevy. Yeah. You're so right.
So-
It should have been titled. Yeah, because
The red
it should
Chevy.
have been titled the red Chevy.
But it's not. It's the
Wow.
Blue Chevy.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Maybe
I
it's
want-
to trick us because they originally think they're getting the blue Chevy, so maybe it's to throw us off.
Yeah, because remember when they
But
offer the car, Jill gets really excited about the blue one.
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah,
no,
but,
in the
like-
garage.
But like knowing the history of like the red Chevy, and like I'm assuming the writers wrote like this entire series like all in one go. It wasn't episode by episode. So it's like you would think that they would name it correctly for like how much we see the car throughout the series. Or like how
Jess,
at
with
least
the
like
amount
in
of-
LE7 they I know.
With
I'm
the
giving
amount
them
of
too much credit.
inconsistencies, yeah. I don't think they expected it. Again, I don't think they expected 30-something-year-olds to make a podcast about it 25 years later. I don't think that was on their bingo card. Last thing I want to do on the blue Chevy was when Howard and Marvin are broken down, they pull out like all the things that they had. I think they had like sunscreen, something else, and then a tape of the S Club 7, and then they pull out the black tape. I think from that original promo shoot. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Where, oh, you don't know who we are? Well, and then they're like just in the black and white. I'll put the picture here. But
No.
yeah, it's just the black photo shoot. You know the photo shoot, Jess.
Right.
The black
Because
one
I
from
thought that one,
1990.
it says like from the writers of, all this stuff. You talking about that promo?
Oh, that promo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you see like their silhouettes kind of, and then like
Yeah.
there's like a singular light on them.
Yes, that one. So I
That's
think
the
that
promo
is the
that
picture
changed
on
my life. That is
Yeah.
the promo where like I was like, what is this? And that's how I found out about S Club. It was that promo because they were promoting the January 1st, like New Year's Day marathon. So yes, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
But
And I think that promo lists like from the writers of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Well, that promo, it's the picture from that promo on the front of the cassette. So that could have been a potential album cover because why do they randomly have a cassette? Anyway, just another continuity thing. So the next episode we're going to talk about, and the last one for this podcast episode, is Wind Resistance. And I have a very special relationship with Wind Resistance, Katey. Do you remember what my special relationship with Wind Resistance is?
It's your first episode you saw.
It's the first episode I ever saw. That is correct, Katey. You're doing a great job. But it's the first episode that I ever saw. It was on Memorial Day of 2000, and this is when I fell in love with Rachel Stevens because she's kind of the center of this episode, like at least from the beginning, and then we have Everybody Wants You Again. So anyone who's wondering where my fascination with Rachel Stevens comes from, it is this episode. So something that we haven't really talked about in the previous episode reviews is that S Club are kind of like videographing their time in Miami for like a home video recorder thing. So the opening of this episode is that they're recording Rachel doing a fake weather report regarding a fake hurricane that's not coming, according to them. So according to Rachel's fake weather report, 9,478 people have died. 42% of the population can not spell only 42% can spell meteorologist, and they now wish to be known as brainy weather guys. And I would like to concur that I did not know how to spell meteorologist, so I did have to Google it for our notes. And I do have a master's degree, and I am not ashamed to say that I Googled how do you spell meteorologist. So,
Just spell checks for.
Brainy weather guys is how we will refer to them. And then Howard magically wants to see Paul privately from the rest of the band. So keep in mind that Howard doesn't really talk to any of them. So he wants to talk to Paul. And Howard puts Paul in charge as the acting manager so he can take a vacation, Katey. Howard's going on vacation because he works so hard. He just works so hard. And during this time, the rest of the S Club are painting the hotel because that is something that they consistently do, is just paint the walls of the hotel. And we love that. During this time, Tina is working as a receptionist, and this is where Paul is pretending to be his manager, and he just has critiques for everyone. And he wants Tina to say please while on the phone. John needs to polish his buttons because John is working as a bellboy, and this is where, like, the magician is pulling, like walking in and trying to check in, and John is pulling this trunk with this woman just pops out, and he's so defeated in that moment. He's like, this woman could have just gotten out of the trunk, and there's nothing in the trunk other than the woman. And ugh.
Right.
And then Hannah receives critiques from Paul for not smiling, and you can't tell a woman.
That's my favorite conversation.
You can't tell a woman to smile. It's very sexist. We do not love this. So after Paul gives all of the recommendations to everyone, S Club are rehearsing Everybody Wants Ya, and Tina does the famous step, 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 look, step, 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 look. So
Yep.
Katey's referenced that
Not
in one
look,
of the
step,
other...
dip, whatever you're doing, Bradley.
Yeah, so I don't remember what episode Katey did that in, but she's already referenced that. So Paul provides costumes for the band to include coconut bras and grass skirts. So
There's a line there that's so funny though. Do you remember about Rachel?
Ahead.
Do you remember the line?
Something about Rachel's gonna cause an earthquake, was it?
A stampede.
Stampede.
So like, yeah, Paul gives her the bra, and then she's like, "No way! Like I can't do this." And then Joe's like, "Yeah, it's gonna sound like." Joe or Rachel say like, it's gonna sound like a stampede, and I thought that was, even though I was little, I thought that was the funniest thing I have ever heard.
Fantastic. Every time Rachel dances, it's going to sound like a stampede.
Come on, I haven't got all day.
In my
As
entire
an
life,
adult,
and I think it's
still
the
hilarious.
way. No, it's hilarious, but it's the way that like Rachel or Joe and like Paul, like the three of them, the way that they say it, like they're just so serious about it. It's just like the delivery of that line till this day cracks me up. It's so good. They're just funny, man. They're funny.
And this is all a kid's show, so like a kid's not going to know what that means. But again, 25 years later, 30-something-year-olds are doing a podcast about it. Don't worry about it.
We're cracking
Kim Fuller.
We also glossed over at the beginning of the episode where Hannah admits that she's looking at a peephole into the boys' changing room.
Yeah,
we kind of glossed
I
over
didn't want to
that
bring
one.
that.
Like,
I didn't want to bring that up, Katey. Didn't want to bring that up.
Okay.
Didn't want to bring up
Like,
the
this is
Hannah's
a
little
kid's
creep.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like
So
Disney movies, you know, like there's like comics for adults to like, you know, there's parents that are watching the show of kids. So, like there has to be like something like kind of like cheeky and fun with like the adults, you know, so it's great.
So S Club get word that they are going to be hit by a hurricane. And then because they hear that on the radio, and then they follow Marvin and Howard. They follow Marvin to Howard's hideout. And the way they do it is so conspicuous, and they just kind of, like, throughout the series, they kind of, like, brush Marvin off as, like, kind of ditzy and, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, he's walking, and there's no, like, laundry cart behind him, and then randomly turns around in the laundry cart, and he just keeps walking. Like, who? That doesn't make...
Yeah.
What? So, yeah.
I love how they played that, though. Like, they look up, look at each other, and look up, and then, like, duck. Like... And I think that music makes it better, that beat in the background. Like, it just makes it so funny.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they find out that Howard is, like, stationing off and, like, being in the basement. Like, he has, like, the whole setup, like, all of the, like, sandbags and, like, the food. Howard is preparing for the hurricane, and this is the first time that Tina is called Other Kid. So... Again, every time they use one of their nicknames, I put it in here. So this is the first time that Tina is called Other Kid. And then S Club begin preparing for the luau luau, and through the strong winds from Hurricane Hannah. So a little fun fact, Hurricane Hannah actually happened on July 23rd of 2020 in southern Texas. So it was a real
I was
hurricane.
so happy with that. I mean,
that
shouldn't have been happy, but I mean, I was like, oh, it's a hurricane. Like,
yeah.
How can you not? Like,
but there was no H at the end. It's just HANNA. So it wasn't like an actual Hurricane Hannah, but I thought that was a cute little nod. It happened like 20 years later. So,
yeah.
And then it didn't even hit Florida. So I feel kind of gypped for the storyline. It could have come, you know? Okay. So at this point, Joe picks up an umbrella and is blown away. And this is where we get the, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's an Essex girl.
Is it a bird?
Is it a plane? No! It's an Essex girl!
Oh my god!
Where's she gone? I can't see her!
I love when they announced it as Hurricane Hannah, and they're like, I love how they say that, the hurricane and hurricane. It's like Hurricane Hannah. And they were like, I'm going to sue. Can you sue a hurricane? Well, you could, but I don't think you could get it into court or something like that. You never get into court. And then Joe was like, well, you could, but the lawyer would blow the case. Like, yeah, those lines get mocked a lot at my house, like to this day. Like,
very fairly too, because it's a very good episode. So Paul convinces Howard that the hurricane is over, and then he is immediately fired as the manager of the hotel. Howard walks out of the basement and is hit in the head with a coconut. Mm-hmm. And that's just iconic. Typical. And the luau takes place in the basement where Howard has been hiding out, and the band make Paul perform in a grass skirt and coconut bra. And I thought that was hilarious. Just seeing Paul bouncing up and down with like the coconuts flinging everywhere. It's just very iconic. And then
I can't listen to that song without thinking of that line.
Yeah, at some point throughout here, I think John has Clint on like a rope or something, and then Clint just flies away. So
yeah, he's got you, guy. Whoops.
So he flies away, and then as S Club are performing at the luau, Howard wakes up, and then Clint flies back down and like lands on Howard and knocks him out again. So I thought that was hilarious, and like the alligator that falls is like completely fake. Like it's terrible. Like it's just terrible at how fake
it's
that
not going to be
alligator
real.
is.
There's no budget for like a real or CGI alligator deal. We're talking 2000, like 1999. The more as you were going on like describing this episode, like it is actually like a very strong episode and like the perfect episode to like get into the band or like get into the show.
Introduce somebody to it. Yeah.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I think
like you don't want to start them on the first one that's slow. Yeah,
it's too slow. Yeah, the first two, like they're getting their footing. You're understanding these characters, how they are personality wise. But this is just like the perfect like one to just like move forward with.
Right.
Yeah, I think I picked correctly. Not that I had a choice, but it's just what aired.
It was fate.
The band performed "Everybody Wants Ya" for the second time, and this is the first time that a song is performed twice in the series. So that is all that we have for episode 1 of our Miami 7 revisit. Do y'all have anything that y'all want to say about the first 4 episodes before we bring this to an end?
I think there's some things at least for wind resistance that make me laugh too. Is like when Howard's putting the badge on Paul, and he's like, "Oh, you've got tears in your eyes." He's like, "No, you just stabbed me with the pin from that badge." He's like, "Oh, we'll try not to get some blood on the carpet." Like, the fact that Paul hugs Joe, that's covered in manure. Like, why would you just?
We didn't really get into that, but that is my favorite line, like in the whole series. She's like, "Did you know that on Fridays?" Or like on this, like, and I just love shouting, "Did you know?" at people. Like, if y'all ever look at the World of S Club things, like, "Did you know?" I always put it in all caps because I'm envisioning Joe yelling, "Did you know?" at people because it's just so funny.
Did you know one of those trucks just happened to be driving by the hotel just now? Well, I did, and the answer is no, I'm not okay.
Did you know that twice a year they spread horse poo around the palm trees? And did you know that it comes here by truck? And did you know that one of those trucks was driving past the hotel just now? Well, I do, and the answer to your question is no, I am not okay. She seems back to normal, though.
That was just such an iconic line.
Joe's just so funny. Like, I mean, her and Paul in this episode are just like comedic geniuses, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Because anyone else can be just given those lines, and they're just like, "Did you know that there was a car moving?" But like, it's just the way that she like, "Did you know?" Da 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 da.
Delivers
Did
that.
you know? Da 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 da. She makes it so much more funnier. She's great.
Yeah.
They're both great.
100% agree. So I want to go back to the Blue Chevy episode real quick because it's something that I just learned this week. So I posted it on the World of S Club Instagram, the dance that they do when they're negotiating for the car. This part was cut out of the US episodes. So where they have all like the Indian face paint on there and they're just like doing the caveman type thing. And Marvin actually commented on it saying that when they filmed that, they didn't know what they were reacting to because the kids had filmed it separately from them. So they were just told to look scared.
Well, they did a good job of it.
They did a fantastic job. They had no idea what they were reacting to. And I just think that's iconic. Hey, y'all, it's Dale. And I just wanted to thank y'all so much for listening to our review of Miami 7, the first few episodes. We hope that you'll join us again next week where we'll revisit episodes 5 through 9. If you would like to follow Jess, our amazing guest host, you can follow her at It's Jess on Twitter. You can follow Katey at Katey_Carmen on Instagram and Twitter. And you can follow me at World of S Club on everything. You can follow the podcast at the SClubBeat on all of our social media platforms. And if you'd like to chat with any of us, you can join us on Discord at join.sclub.org. We'd love to hear from you. We're all there and we'd love to chat. So come in and join us. We look forward to seeing you next week where we do episodes 5 through 9. And please leave all of your comments below on whatever streaming platform you're listening to. And we will see you next week.
You're listening to the S Club Beat with Dale and Katey.